Derrick James, the #1 high school football recruit coming out of Ohio, has had one of the best 4 years running the ball anyone has ever seen at the high school level. Standing at 6'2" while weighing in at 247 pounds, he truly looked like an NFL player out there playing with teenagers in high school. After an outstanding career, he racked up over 30 Division I offers where he would ultimately decide to go play at Texas, a school he had stuck in his mind for a while now. The one thing that motivated Derrick the most about attending Texas was the opportunity to play with great quarterbacks over the years. Getting to team up with the former #1 high school quarterback in his class, Quinn Ewers, and Derrick James was a backfield made in heaven, while also having the chance to team up with Arch Manning when he takes over in the future. After struggling getting used to the college level in practice, Derrick would start the season off as the second string halfback with a chance to upgrade in the future. After a long and disappointing training camp, Derrick James and the Longhorns would be looking to win their first game in a matchup against Coastal Carolina. Not being a starter, we had to do the most with every single touch we got, and in the first play of the game, we came out in a double backfield and we actually got a reception in the first play of our season. Although Derrick's playing time was very sporadic in the first game of the year, he felt like every single time he touched the ball, he was performing really well and falling forward, as he was doing really good in the passing game as well. Our offense would have a goose egg for the first 3 quarters of this game, and we had an opportunity to come out as the feature back on this last drive of the game here. We were trying to not let our coach take us out the game because every single time we touched the ball, it was going for at least 10 yards a carry, and that also was due to our offensive line. We had wide open alleys like this all game long. Our offense is finally finding some consistency here late in the 4th quarter, and we're going to have another 10-yard run, but our coach would pull us out the game for the next couple plays, and we would get sacked on 3rd and 8, and later have to settle for 3. With only 1 minute and 50 seconds remaining, we need a stop. But luckily, our defense would get us great field position after getting a stop and using all of our timeouts. We would have a screenplay that would take us all the way into field goal range, but we wanted to do more. Now with the time ticking and 35 seconds remaining, we're going to fall on our route, but Quinn Ewers would hit our wide receiver in the back of the end zone, and that would be enough to go ahead and clutch on the game, and we would be 1-0 on the season. And Derrick James actually tallied 66 yards on only 5 carries in his first matchup. Although Texas came away with a W, we only finished with 10 total points on the board, and we knew we couldn't do that every single week, so our coach would put us in a position battle to hopefully spark some offense in week number 2. After originally committing to Texas, Derrick James never thought he would be in a position to be competing for the starting role, but now that he is here, he wants to prove to all the coaches that this is his position to lose, and he would do so by dominating all practice long and easily taking over as the running back 1 heading into week number 2. Our first matchup as a starter would be against the BYU Cougars, and Derrick James would start the game off amazingly, breaking not 1 tackle, not 2, but a 3rd one right here, and no one could bring him down in this game. Although in high school we were known as a power running back, our coach wanted to get us activated in the passing game a lot more, and you could see us in the open field taking down every single defender, and Derrick James is already very hype in this one. And just like our matchup against Coastal Carolina, it felt like every single time we touched the ball, we were popping at least 10 yards on the field, but after having a bad run on this play, we would get taken out the game and we would end up stalling and having to punt. BYU would start to pack the box because we were running the ball so well this game, but Quinn Ewers would pull it on a read option, and that would bait all of the defenders in the middle, and we would have a huge gain and getting all the way to the 50-yard line. It felt like BYU had no chance against our run game as Derrick James was popping over 5 yards a carry, and on Quinn Ewers was dominating in the read option, and even our backup running back Jonathan Brooks was dominating as well. Still looking for our first touchdown of our collegiate season, Quinn Ewers would pull it on a read option and score, and this triple read option is almost unguardable. Quinn would get banged up a little bit on that last drive, so our backup quarterback Hudson Card was in the game, and he would throw us a ball on the sideline, and we were able to take this for over 40 yards after the catch. Now with only 2 minutes remaining, Derrick James would have his largest run of the game to go ahead and close this one on off and carry the Longhorns to a 2-0 record while getting his first 100-yard game on the ground. After a great first game starting, Texas would actually move into the top 25 polls and would take on their first-ranked opponent in the Ole Miss Rebels, who sit at number 20. Ole Miss would score 3 points on their first drive of the game, but that wouldn't shy away Derrick and the Texas offense from having a great first possession, and he would even score his first ever collegiate touchdown at the end of it. On our next drive, after getting a stop, Quinn Ewers would just dump it down, and I thought the play was dead, but our wide receiver broke many tackles and took it for 31 yards. That big catch would lead to us having one of our biggest runs of the game, as we would shoot all the way into the middle of the field, all the way to the 30-yard line, and that would later lead to a pitch from our quarterback, and we would have a wide open touchdown down the sideline, and we already have 2 this game. Our defense was shutting down the Rebels offense, and all we wanted to do was make this a 3-possession game here on this last drive before the half, and we were dominating in the passing game as well. And on a broken play, we actually got open for Quinn Ewers, caught the ball, broke a tackle, and got all the way inside the 15-yard line after juking out defenders. Derrick James was gassed after the big play, so we were taking out the game, and Quinn Ewers would later throw a dot over the middle, and all of a sudden we have a 21-3 lead. Later in this game, Ole Miss would actually tie the game on up, and we have 1 minute and 20 seconds to have a comeback play here, and we need to do everything we can on offense to move this rock. 57 seconds on the clock remain, and we were trying to get open in the backfield, and we would do so, breaking a tackle, and we're all of a sudden in field goal range. We just need to burn a little bit more clock. Quinn didn't want to put any pressure on our quarterback, and he wanted to do it himself himself, so he would sling the rock all the way inside the 5-yard line and then later run it in off a read option, and all of a sudden we have a 7-point lead with 36 seconds remaining. That late fourth quarter touchdown would end up clutching us the game, and we would move on to be 3-0 on the season, and Derrick James would earn his first player of the game with over 100 yards in the ground and also 67 in the air. After getting boosted into the top 10 rankings, Texas would be taking on Oklahoma, who currently sit at number 3, and they were looking as one of the best teams in the nation, but that wouldn't stop our offense as we would continue to read option all game long, and Quinn Ewers would start off with a huge gain. Oklahoma knew that we wanted to run the ball a lot, so they brought a lot of people into the box, but Derrick James would show off his wheels, getting to the outside and picking up first downs. The running lanes weren't nearly as open in this matchup, but that wouldn't stop Derrick as he would show off his elusiveness all game long, and that power at the end of plays definitely boosted as well. Our coach would bring us out the game, and then we would get stuffed on the 1-yard line multiple times until he would bring us back on the field on a 4th down, and we would end up going for it, and Quinn Ewers would pull it on a read option to get an easy touchdown. With our defense getting a stop, we would have another chance attack on this lead, and we would get a dump down in the flats, break a tackle, and Derrick James was off to the races with only multiple defenders to beat. He would easily do it with his speed alone, and we would have our first touchdown of the game. Once again, our defense is proving why they're one of the best in the nation, but we couldn't really get much going on this next drive as we would get slammed on our shoulder, and Derrick James would be out with an injury, and he could not get back on up. Although we couldn't make our way back onto the field, Quinn Ewers would lead us to a victory, and that would be our biggest win yet as we would take out a top 3 rated team. As the wins kept coming, the schedule only got harder as we would take on another ranked opponent in TCU. Coming back from injury, this game was going to be hard all around for Derrick James as this TCU defense was amazing against running backs all season long, and we couldn't do anything on the first possession. It wouldn't come till the second quarter where you could make a positive impact on offense, where we would take a pitch and take it for 6 yards, and even later finish that first down, getting a huge gain over the middle. Eric would start to heat up this drive, even bouncing this run out to the outside. He thought he had enough only with 15 yards, but he would truck this defender and fall all the way inside the 20, and that would later lead to Quinn Ewers doing a quarterback draw up the middle to take the lead. ECU would score in the last possession before half and then score in the opening play of the third quarter, and now we are trailing by 7 points, and it looks like we are getting bottled all game long in the backfield. All we want to do is keep the undefeated season alive, and we're going to try to do so in the air this play as Derrick James would take a catch and juke out a defender and break a couple tackles as he gets near the 50-yard line. But on a 3rd and 3, we're trying to pick up the first down, and we would fall right before, and our coach would actually pull us out the game and punt, and now we are down by 14 points, and all we have to do is score immediately if we want any chance in this game. The fourth quarter seemed to be our quarter because every single time it hit there, we were having our best plays of the game as we were falling for 10 yards every single time we touched the ball, and once again, we are opening it up in another 10-yard run right here. The one negative about being a run-heavy team is that we are chewing ourselves out the game, yet getting a touchdown. We only have 2 minutes and 47 seconds remaining to get a stop and get another score. We planned on passing every single play on this last drive to go ahead and tie the game on up, and our coach surprisingly kept us in the game, and we were able to show off a lot of good route running ability and also after the catch ability. We were able to score and kick the extra point while we were off the field, but that would not be good enough for us because our defense would fold as TCU would throw a dot over the middle, and the wide receiver would get many yards after the catch, and that would lead to a last-second field goal, and TCU would hit it, and we would have our first loss of the season. Despite losing a big game, we would lose to the number 20 seed, and also only by 3 points. That would move us only down 4 spots, and we still remain in the top 10 of the top 25 polls. But after stringing along a couple victories, we would be moved back up to the number 6 spot and have a chance to win out to make the college football championship, and we would look to start off hot in this matchup against Oklahoma State. But just like our last matchup against TCU, we would struggle on the first quarter of this game, not picking up any first down yards, and we are down 7 points already on the second drive of this game, and we need some magic to happen. Quinn Ewers would step up in this game as well, hitting a lot of good throws like this in this second possession of this game, and also dumping it down and letting our wide receivers do the work. We were already inside the 5-yard line. We would struggle in the red zone, and we were not able to punch this ball in despite breaking a couple tackles, and then also Quinn Ewers would try to scramble out on the last third down of this drive, and he would get stopped on the 1-yard line, and we would have to settle for a field goal after the offense stalled out. Our defense could not get a single stop yet this game, and they were already up 21-3 in the first half of this game, but Quinn would find us over the middle, and we would break a tackle and be gone for our longest collegiate touchdown ever as a running back. We always told ourselves that we are a second half player, as you could see us dominating on the first carry of the second half and also on the next play trucking over a defensive lineman and going for another 10-piece. Our entire offense was starting to ball in the second half of this game as a wide receiver would take a screen and almost burst all the way to the end zone and get us inside the 5. But once again, our coach would take us out the game inside the goal line, and we would struggle to punch it on in as we almost throw an interception, and we have to settle for 3 to cut this down to an 8-point lead. Derrick's biggest goal ever as a running back was to play on the biggest stage, and he knew he could not lose this game if he wanted to make the National College Football Championship, and he was doing everything he could even in the passing game. We would even do so in the red zone as well, as we would find ourselves scoring a touchdown late in this game, but we have to go for a 2-point conversion and they would swallow us on up, and now we are desperate for a stop. But now our defense getting a stop, we have to go ahead and score at least a field goal, but Quinn would make a crucial mistake throwing it into the flat, and the defensive back would take it all the way for 6, and our guy Derrick James is visibly upset on the football field. After another heartbreaking loss, Texas' season would be derailed and we would end up finishing 4th in the Big 12 after caving out an 8-4 ugly record. Although Texas flopped at the end of the season, we did finish with almost 2,000 total yards, as we had 1,400 on the ground and also finished with 500 in the air. This was a great rookie season for Derrick James. If you made it this far in the video and you are enjoying the start of Derrick James series, make sure you hit that like and hit that subscribe. We are pushing for 3,000 subscribers.